overlay with all of the data that is being seen by the Russian flight controllers here in Korolyov. Now just 3.8 kilometers away from a docking, closing at about 8 meters per second. At the time of contact and capture, which is scheduled at 2:41 p.m. Central Time, 10:41 p.m. here in Korolyov, the Soyuz will be closing at a very, very slow rate of about 1/10 of a meter per second for contact and capture, the retraction of the docking probe, and the hooks closing on both sides of the docking interface to form a hard mate. The fly around of the International Space Station is planned about 12 minutes from now, as the Soyuz will conduct a 122 degree fly around of the station to precisely align itself at a range of about 400 meters or 1,300 feet, looking directly into the barrel of the docking port on the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the International Space Station. At Mission Control in Houston, the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers is on duty at this hour, led by Flight Director Vincent LaCourte. He and his team of flight controllers, as I mentioned just a short time ago, conducted a go, no-go poll of all of their flight control positions and concluded that everything was in good shape from the space station side of the house to accept the arrival of the Soyuz and its 3 occupants. LaCourte is on the right side of your screen talking to Pooja Jaswani, who's the spacecraft communicator, joined on console today by Kjell Lindgren, Soyuz systems expert, who is providing his insight when required, and talking directly to the space station crew of Shkaplerov, Tingle, and Kenai when required. Once the docking is completed and a hard mate is established between the Soyuz and the International Space Station at the Poisk module docking port, the crews on either side of the docking interface will conduct about 90 minutes worth of leak checks and pressure checks to ensure that they have an airtight seal at that docking interface before the approval is given for them to open hatches. That is scheduled at approximately 4:45 p.m. Central Time, which would be 12:45 a.m. here in Moscow on Saturday morning. At that point, the 6 crew members will have a chance to greet one another, conduct a short welcoming ceremony in which they'll accept congratulatory calls from VIPs and family members who are gathered here on the balcony at the Russian Mission Control Center before they get down to business, which will include the traditional safety briefing and a tour of the station by Station Commander Anton Shkaplerov, who will show them escape routes and basically run through all of the emergency evacuation procedures that are standard staple practice for any arriving space station crew. The crew on the International Space Station, once the new residents arrive, will have an off-duty day on Saturday, but there's no time to lose as they get back into a normal workday actually on Sunday that will be highlighted by spacewalk tool preparations and spacewalk procedure reviews that will be conducted for Drew Feustel and Ricky Arnold, who just 6 days from now, next Thursday, will be conducting a 6.5-hour spacewalk outside of the Quest airlock of the International Space Station to install wireless antennas to accommodate payload operations coming up in the near future, as well as replacing a camera port assembly out on the P1 truss, or the Port 1 truss of the International Space Station. The crew, well-trained, with Feustel having had 6 spacewalks to his credit and Ricky Arnold with 2, will get right down to business without hardly an opportunity to breathe before they begin a fairly intense several days of spacewalking activities that will precede them going out of the hatch of the Quest airlock next Thursday. We'll talk more about that later on. There is a view from the International Space Station's truss cameras of the Soyuz vehicle as the Soyuz is flying at an altitude of some 253 miles above the Earth, in tandem with the International Space Station, continuing to close its distance and its rate of closure to the complex, with docking again scheduled at 2:41 p.m. Central Time, 10:41 p.m. here in Korolyov. Again, a good view of the thruster firings on the Soyuz MSO-8 spacecraft with the call sign of Hawaii as chosen collectively by the crew members. Oleg Artemyev in the center seat is the Soyuz commander, flanked on his left by Drew Feustel and on his right by Ricky Arnold, as they are now just 29 minutes away from contact and capture, if not earlier, depending on the progress of the Soyuz and the precise alignment of the Soyuz forward docking probe to the Poisk module once the fly-around of the International Space Station is complete.
Just work per your discretion, whatever works best. You can deactivate AGC mode. Okay, we're going to try that.
You're hearing Russian flight controllers talking to Artemyev on board the Soyuz vehicle. The Soyuz and the International Space Station flying in an
closing in 3.6. And okay, I see that the value of 1 again. And DPO are active, approach and additive thrusters. The station is moving from left to right. Copy. And we are standing by for break-in burn or retrograde burn on approach and attitude thrusters DPO. Closing in 3.4. 4 kilometers is the range. Predictions are being updated.
The Soyuz, again, through automated command from its computers, is conducting a series of what are known as impulse burns. These are small mid-course corrections of a few seconds in duration that is enabling the Soyuz to fine-tune its path to the International Space Station. Now 800 meters separating the Soyuz and the station, closing at a rate of just under 2.5 meters per second.
Okay, break-in burn DPO are active now. DPO in operation. Break-in. Okay, 800 meters.
Принимаю тебя, Олег.
Oleg, I copy you and I read you loud and clear.
Изображение принимаете, да?
Are you seeing the image? The predictions are being updated. Yes, the image is of very good quality right now. Okay, activate AGC mode once again. I think it will be better for both, for you and for us as well. AGC mode worked for us, but again, I'd like to stress that you should like the image that works best for you. Copy. 670 is the range. The angular sizes.
Less than 700 meters now separating the Soyuz, as you can see in this view from cameras on the International Space Station flying over Sao Paulo, Brazil, at an altitude of 253 statute miles. Everything continuing to go by the book as we approach the point of the start of the fly-around that will be initiated at a distance of about 400 meters, a fly-around of 122 degrees for the Soyuz to precisely align itself with the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the International Space Station's Russian segment.
The rate is 1.5. Prediction is being updated.
Принято.
Excellent. Copy.
Расстояние 550 метров.
550 meters, closing in at 1.4. Half a square is the same size. 490 is the course value. The values match.
Russian flight controllers reporting to Anton Shkaplerov aboard the station, as well as Oleg Artemyev aboard the Soyuz, that the MS-08 is right on track. The Corps' automated rendezvous system operating as advertised. You can see in this split-screen view, the view on the upper left-hand corner from the Soyuz external television camera, and on the right, the view from a truss camera on the International Space Station.
We're switching to page 77 of the ODF. Affirmative. The range is 415, 1.1 is the rate. The predictions are being updated.
Понял, подтверждаю.
Copy and confirm.
Наблюдаем облет.
We're seeing the fly-around.
And flight controllers now reporting that the fly-around by the Soyuz MS-08 has begun. Again, a 122-degree angle for this fly-around that will result in the forward end of the Soyuz MS-08 vehicle in direct alignment with the docking port of the Poisk module on the space-facing side of the Russian segment of the International Space Station. This fly-around should take under 10 minutes to complete, at which point, at about 2:28 p.m. Central Time, the Soyuz will put on the brakes for the start of a brief period of station keeping at a range of some 600 feet from its final destination at the Poisk module docking port.
340 is the range. Rate is 0.86 meters. All the sizes match. Angular sizes match. 320 meters is the range. I think. Okay, I copy. We're seeing the image and we confirm rate and range values.
Снизу пришли, да? Получается.
So,
flying in symmetry, the Soyuz and the International Space Station now flying directly over Rio de Janeiro, moving from southwest to northeast. Everything going by the book, no issues reported. All of the Soyuz systems in good shape. Oleg Artemyev in the center seat of the Soyuz spacecraft, flanked on his left by Drew Feustel, on his right, Ricky Arnold.
Yes, we are. Well, you should have closed window covers.
Так, у нас 280 метров.
280 meters is the range, 0.59 is the rate. and the range and rate match. Predictions are being updated.
Принято.
Copy.
Steady as she goes, the Soyuz spacecraft continuing its fly around of the International Space Station to align itself with the Poisk module. Everything in good shape. Flight controllers here in Korolyov very happy with the data that they're seeing on their displays.
It is approximately 1 square in size, and course values match. Sizes are also the same or match.
Сейчас ровно одна клетка по служебному модулю.
SM is exactly 1 square, and its range is 238 and rate 0.37. Everything matches. DPO are on.
The Soyuz MS-08 not quite halfway through its fly around. Again, when it reaches a point of about 193 meters or 633 feet away from the station, the Soyuz will automatically put on the brakes based on its computer commands and sit quiescently for a few minutes for a period of station keeping to allow flight controllers here in Korolyov to assess its systems one final time before the automated command is given to proceed on for final approach, contact, and capture.
Copy, and we're receiving the image also.
.215 meters separating Soyuz and the station, closing at a rate of just over 1/10 of a meter per second.
The range is approximately 210 meters, and the rate is almost 0. Predictions are being updated, and you only have 80 degrees of left fly round. Okay, yes, I confirm. Copy. Sunset will start in 2 minutes and 2:27, and approach will happen at eclipse path. Okay, so we will need to activate headlights, correct? Yes, so should I activate them?
The Soyuz MS-08 and the International Space Station is approaching an orbital sunset as it nears the west coast of Africa, moving from southwest to northeast, 200 meters now separating the Soyuz and 3 new residents of the station from their final destination, the Poisk module.
Headlights are on.
Понял.
Floodlights are on. Range is approximately 200 meters. Rate is almost equal to 0. Predictions are being updated.
Принято.
Copy.
The Soyuz, now more than 3/4 of the way complete with its fly around, will be standing by momentarily for the nulling of the rates and the approach of the Soyuz to the International Space Station and the start of just a brief period of station keeping.
Метров сохраняем.
200 meters is the range. Rate is at almost 0. Predictions are being updated.
Работа ДПО идет постоянно.
DPO are operating continuously. DPO approach and attitude thrusters are operating.
Так, приближаемся потихоньку.
Okay, we're you have almost completed fly around. You are go to activate a VSK periscope illumination unit, and a flight engineer should be prepared for the command final approach on approach display.
All right, so what's that?
Можешь свернуть, если тебе необходимо.
You can minimize them if that's necessary.
Вы принимаете, да? Все хорошо?
Are you still receiving the telemetry? Yes, we do receive the image.
И сразу будем выдавать команду на причале.
And we are waiting for these steps to be completed, and after that we'll send the rendezvous command immediately after that. Copy. So we'll be waiting for the station keeping.
Just 200 meters now separating Soyuz from the International Space Station, and as you can see from this external television camera on the Soyuz spacecraft, a roll maneuver is underway to properly angle the solar arrays on the Soyuz for final approach and docking.
The roll maneuver is underway. We can see that. Affirmed. Affirmative.
Есть K-15. Есть K-15.
K-15 is confirmed.
Принято.
Copy all. That's great.
The approach rate has been nulled. Station keeping underway. Flight controllers here in Korolyov assessing the Soyuz systems.
Station keeping is confirmed.
We are expecting the initiation of final approach momentarily.
Yes. Okay, please send the rendezvous command.
Выдали причал.
It has been sent.
Наблюдаем причаливание.
We can see the rendezvous.
And flight controllers now confirming that the Soyuz has initiated its final approach for a docking to the Poisk module of the International Space Station. A good view of the spacecraft. In the descent module, the Soyuz commander Oleg Artemyev, flanked by NASA astronauts Drew Feustel and Ricky Arnold, moments away from their arrival at the International Outpost.
Сейчас чуть поближе подойдем, фара уже будет подсвечивать нам.
So when we get closer, the floodlights will be helping us there. So, but we can see everything very clearly in the periscope. That's great. The docking port is higher, 1 square higher in the periscope.
Немного по крену.
Slightly in the roll direction. So I see some divergence in roll values.
Понял, это нормально.
That is nominal, Oleg.
По служебному модулю примерно угловые размеры 2 клетки.
The size of the SM is approximately 2 squares, and we are at 120 meters, and the rate is 0.6, and the predictions are being corrected right now. Copy.
Вот уже фара начинает.
The Corps' automated rendezvous system right on the money. In the lower left-hand corner from this view of the Soyuz external television camera, you're looking almost right down the barrel of the Poisk module. Now just 100 meters separating the two vehicles, Soyuz closing at a rate of 0.5 of a meter per second.
Трю, давай, ССП. Готов. Пожалуйста. You see the solar arrays. I hope so. 80 meters away.
The SM...
The visiting vehicle officer working with the ballistics folks, both here in Korolyov and at Mission Control in Houston, reports that the Soyuz is dead on, straight as an arrow, heading for a docking just minutes from now. Great view of the Soyuz MS-08, which 2 days ago sat on the launch pad of the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan, now just a short distance away from completing its journey, which has been fully automated to this point.
1 square in size. Copy. 70 meters. Okay, so the range here. The target is almost at the center of the periscope. Slightly higher than the center.
Принято.
Copy.
Just 58 meters now separating the two vehicles, Soyuz and the International Space Station flying over northwest Algeria, soon to cross the northern coast of Africa and over the Mediterranean.
The docking port is approximately 1.5 squares in size. It should be 45-50 meters, and it matches that. The predictions are being updated.
Принято.
Copy.
Ждем дальность 47 метров.
So we'll wait for the range of 47 meters, and we should be controlling the docking and internal transfer system. Yes, so 48, and in accordance with the predictions, is 49. So we are just standing by. Docking and internal transfer system command has been sent. The hooks are open, and everything is confirmed. So all SSVP docking internal transfer system commands have gone through. Copy.
The Soyuz MS-08 has now powered up its docking mechanism. Everything on both ends, both on the station end and the Soyuz end, operating normally. 40 meters separating Soyuz from its contact and capture point at the Poisk module.
The docking port is 2 squares in size. The range is approximately 33 meters. 36.
Понял.
Copy. The docking port is clearly visible. It is being illuminated by the floodlights, but it's still a little bit dark.
Принято.
Copy.
Мы тоже видим стыковочные.
We can also see the docking port. I can see the cross lines
Отлично, принято.
very well. Copy all. That's great news. The crosshairs are aligned.
Very good view of the Poisk module docking port with the diamond-shaped docking target just underneath the crosshairs.
Oxygen supply is
Everything is in great shape, some 20 meters away, separating Soyuz from the International Space Station.
Видим базовые.
The range is less than 60 meters. Yes.
Да, есть база.
Air is confirmed.
Есть причал. Нет, сейчас причал, да. Причал есть, кажется.
Rendezvous is confirmed.
Одна клетка помещения, расстояние примерно 18 метров, по угловым размерам совпадает.
Approximately 18 meters, and it is 1 square in size. Everything matches the course data.
Прогноз корректируется.
The predictions are being updated.
Наплыв хороший, кресты собраны.
The crosshairs are aligned.
Принимаем вас хорошо.
We can see it very clearly. The image is very clear.
Just 12 meters away, Soyuz closing at its expected rate of 1/10 of a meter per second as we stand by for contact and capture.
The range is around 10 meters.
Принято.
Copy.
Пропало у нас изображение.
We don't see the image anymore. Oh, it's back.
Кресты собраны, с допуском необходимо.
The crosshairs are aligned.
Понял вас.
Хороший.
Everything is nominal.
2,5 клетки подстыковочной мишени. Отлично.
The target is at the center of the cross lines.
Хорошо.
That's great.
Небольшой крен есть,
You
допустим.
can see some roll value here, but it's allowed.
Отлично. Подстыковочная мишень по контролю стыковка отлично.
The target is clearly visible.
Подтверждаю.
Yes, to confirm the same. So we're standing by for the contact. Yes. So are we?
Есть касание.
Contact is confirmed.
Есть цепка.
We have docking, contact confirmed, and capture confirmed. At 2:40 p.m. Central Time, 10:40 p.m. Moscow time, as the Soyuz and the International Space Station flew 254 miles over Serbia. The International Space Station now in free drift, all thrusters disabled to allow relative motion between the two vehicles to dampen out prior to the retraction of the forward docking probe on the Soyuz. A textbook rendezvous, a perfect docking. Oleg Artemyev, Drew Feustel, and Ricky Arnold have arrived at the International Space Station to double its population. Again, docking confirmed at 2:40 p.m. Central Time, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time.
Принято.
Copy all.
Олег, переходи на ССВП.
Oleg,
Дрю пусть работает.
please switch to the docking internal transfer system, and you can go to page 81, and after that you can proceed with leak checks. Copy.
Отключай фару, да?
Okay, I'm switching off
Закрываем
floodlights.
Рики,
We are closing RPV,
манометр из футляра.
and please remove the manometer from the case
Не мешаю.
in work.
Работаю по ССВП.
And I start working with SSVP, docking internal transfer system.
8:04.
The docking probe nestled in the docking port of the Poisk module, again standing by for the dampening out and the stabilization of the relative motion between the two vehicles before that docking probe begins to retract and the initiation of the closing of the hooks on both sides of the docking interface to form a hard mate between Soyuz and the International Space Station.
22:40.
You started it at 22:42?
Yeah,
pretty much.
First.
A journey that began with the launch of the Soyuz spacecraft from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan just before midnight Baikonur time on Wednesday culminates with a textbook rendezvous and a smooth docking of the vehicle to the Poisk module of the International Space Station just a few minutes ago at 2:40 p.m. Central Time, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time, as Soyuz and the International Space Station flew 254 miles over Serbia.
Come again? On page 81, you need to send R7 and S18 command, correct?
Очень плохо тебя слышу.
I can hardly hear you. Can you please repeat what you just said?
Moscow, Hawaii.
Moscow, Hawaii.
Олег, как меня сейчас слышно?
Oleg, how copy?
1:11.
Can you please repeat what you just said?
111, да, вот сейчас.
111, yeah, I can hear you.
Я жду подтверждения от вас.
I need
Выдачи R7 и
a confirmation that R7 and S18 commands have been sent. S18.
We now have confirmation that the hooks are driving. We'll be standing by for the confirmation of the hooks closing on both sides of the docking interface to form a hard mate between Soyuz and the International Space Station, after which the crews on both sides of the Soyuz and the station vehicles will begin a period of about 90 minutes or so of leak checks to make sure that we have an airtight seal prior to the depressurization of the small vestibule or passageway between Soyuz and the Poisk module that will be the precursor to the opening of the hatches and the greeting of the two crews a bit later.
That's 2241.56. 797, BO 787. And SR 794. Copy all. Thank you. How copy? All right, so please keep monitoring SSVP operation. All right, all the LEDs are lit. The hooks are closed and respective LEDs illuminate.
We now have confirmation that the hooks are closed on both sides of the docking interface, so we now have a hard mate between the Soyuz MS-08 and the International Space Station that will initiate the ability of the Soyuz crew to conduct a leak check at the docking interface and to get out of their Sokol launch and entry suits and put on more comfortable flight clothing as they prepare for the opening of the hatches between the two vehicles that will occur about 2 hours from now. On January 5th, America lost a human spaceflight icon with the passing of astronaut John Young at the age of 87. Young enjoyed the longest career of any NASA astronaut in history, was the first human to fly in space 6 times, the 9th human to walk on the moon, and the first commander of a space shuttle mission. It all started for John Young 53 years ago today. Boarded the Gemini 3 spacecraft at Launch Complex 19 at Cape Kennedy, Florida, and at 10:24 a.m. Eastern Time, their Titan II launch vehicle lifted off for the start of a 5-hour shakedown mission of the new Gemini capsule. As they soared skyward, 90 minutes after launch, Grissom and Young conducted the first orbital maneuver by a crewed spacecraft, a 1-minute, 14-second firing of orbital attitude engines to slightly change Gemini's orbit, all the while flight controllers tracking the crew and the spacecraft from the Cape Kennedy Air Force Station. Finally, after 3 orbits, Gemini 3 headed home for a mid-afternoon splashdown in the Atlantic, where the USS Intrepid stood at the ready to recover the crew. Soon after splashdown, Grissom and Young were extracted from Gemini 3 in excellent shape and brought on board the Intrepid for post-flight medical exams. It was a successful end to the maiden flight in the Gemini program that would pave the way for Apollo and for Young future missions on the space shuttle. It is a fitting tribute that today, for John Young, 53 years after Gemini 3, 3 new residents have arrived at the International Space Station to maintain a permanent human occupancy that is approaching 2 decades in length. Now back looking at a view from a balcony camera here in the Russian Mission Control Center in Korolyov outside of Moscow, as the relative motion between the two vehicles dampened out, permitting hooks to be closed on both sides of the docking interface. So a flawless docking executed automatically for the crew on board the Soyuz, Oleg Artemyev, Drew Feustel, and Ricky Arnold, who will soon get out of their Sokol launch and entry suits, deactivate their camcorders, and begin preparations for the opening of the hatches and a greeting by the residents of the station who have been on board since December. Expedition 55 Commander Anton Shkaplerov, NASA astronaut Scott Tingle, and Norishige Kanai of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency. With the flawless docking having been completed, we'll point you to our next NASA television broadcast that will be coming up at 4 p.m. Central Time, 5 p.m. Eastern Time, our hatch opening coverage on NASA television for a hatch opening scheduled at 4:45 p.m. Central Time, 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. Until then, we'll be back shortly with all of the hatch opening coverage. Thanks for joining us. The Soyuz MS-08 successfully arriving at the International Space Station. This is Mission Control Korolev. Congratulatory calls from dignitaries, family, and friends gathered here on the balcony of the Russian Mission Control Center before the crew goes to work. That work including a safety briefing that is a standard and staple item of all arriving space station crews. Shkaplerov will provide that safety briefing. The Soyuz spacecraft will be placed on ISS power, basically conservation mode, as it is called, for the duration of its stay at the Poisk module over the next several months for the new residents of the International Space Station. Saturday is an off-duty day for the crew. They will sleep as long as they wish. The plan is not to have either of the control centers, either in Houston or here in Moscow, bother the crew unless they call down for some reason. Once the crew has an opportunity to get some rest on Saturday, they'll go back to work on Sunday, most particularly for Feustel and Arnold, who will be configuring tools that they will bring outside the Quest airlock next Thursday for a planned 6.5-hour spacewalk. The first in a trio of spacewalks planned for the Expedition 55 crew over the next several weeks through late May or early June. This first spacewalk scheduled for Thursday is the 209th spacewalk in support of space station assembly, maintenance, and upgrades. It'll be the 7th spacewalk for Drew Feustel, the 3rd for Ricky Arnold. They will work in tandem with each other outside of the International Space Station to install wireless antennas on the Tranquility module to enhance the transmission of payload data from an environmental payload that will be mounted on the external experiment porch of the Kibo module. They will also replace a camera assembly on the Port 1 truss and remove hoses from a coolant system on the truss itself, all part of a planned 6.5-hour spacewalk that is scheduled next Thursday, March 29th, with NASA TV coverage to begin at 5:30 a.m. Central Time, 6:30 a.m. Eastern Time. Once again, on the station side of the docking interface, you're looking at the International Space Station commander, Anton Shkaplerov of Roscosmos, who, along with Scott Tingle and Norishige Kanai, have been a three-person cruise for the past 3 weeks, about to be doubled in size once those hatches open. And again, we're expecting that to occur about 38 minutes from now. The crew has been moving along smartly in its timeline since docking occurred at 2:40 p.m. Central Time, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. They're in the final stage of conducting leak checks in the vestibule area. That's the small passageway in between the two hatches, the station hatch to the Poisk module, the Soyuz hatch, behind which Oleg Artemyev, Ricky Arnold, and Drew Feustel are housed and have been for the past 2 days since their launch from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan back on Wednesday. Shkaplerov, Tingle, and Kanai are scheduled to remain on board the International Space Station until they depart on June 3rd for a landing in south-central Kazakhstan.
Гавайи, ЦУПа Москвы.
Hawaii, Moscow. Go ahead.
Ну что, принимаем от вас 15-минутный замер.
Okay, so what about the 15-minute measurement reading? 7:41? 7:41, copy.
Олег, скажи, пожалуйста, пока свежи впечатления.
Oleg, while still fresh impressions, can you tell us, how comfortable, how convenient it was to work with the tablet in the descent module? Well, if it had been a little bit smaller, it would have been more convenient. All right, copy. So what was not convenient? It took too much space. Well, of course, you have handles on both sides, and the tablet kind of obstructs the hand.
Continuing to listen to conversations between the flight controllers here at the Russian Mission Control Center and the crews on both sides of the docking interface. The International Space Station is currently flying from southwest to northeast, approaching the northern coast of Portugal on a path that will carry the Soyuz and the International Space Station over the heart of France, just south of Paris, a short time from now. Once those hatches open, Ricky Arnold will be aboard the station for the second time. He flew on the STS-119 Space Shuttle assembly flight to the station. Drew Feustel's experience on the station was on the STS-134 mission, the penultimate Space Shuttle mission, in which he also conducted assembly work, including three additional spacewalks for Feustel on the final Hubble Space Telescope servicing mission on STS-125. Oleg Artemyev, the commander of the Soyuz that just arrived at the station under the code sign of Hawaii, is about to embark on his second long-duration mission aboard the International Space Station.
To the center.
Я понял тебя.
Okay, copy. But still you saw the station very well through the periscope while you were approaching. Yes, it was very, very clear.
Понял, отлично.
Copy, that's great news. So it was, I started seeing from far away. And what about the tablet? It did not freeze or anything, did it react to all the key strokes? Yes, the tablet was quite good. And the guys also worked with their tablets without any issues, right? No issues. The tablet got stuck to the ceiling. And when I started, sticking it, so there was a bubble that formed as a result. Whose tablet was that? It was mine. You mean the Velcro, got stuck? Yes, it was an open Velcro on the ceiling, and it got stuck there to the film. There was a film there.
Well, work continues here at the Russian Mission Control Center in preparation for the opening of the hatches between the station and the Soyuz vehicle. At Mission Control in Houston, the Orbit 2 team of flight controllers, led by Flight Director Vincent LaCourte on the right side of your screen, watching over station systems, talking to the residents on board the station side of the docking interface. The spacecraft communicator is Pooja Jasrani. Joining today's activities on console, astronaut Kjell Lindgren, a Soyuz veteran and a space station long-duration expedition crew member himself.
I think right now is the moment to report another reading. Yes, at 12:30. Okay, let me see. Oleg, and then a small request from Igor Ivanovich. If you have a chance, if you have enough strength, so to say, he asked to do the video footage of the intermodular ventilation. You can try to use tablet for that. Or maybe some other way, but to shoot a video of the installation. You mean the installation itself, or when the installation is complete? Well, it is desirable to do a video of the process of the installation. Well, I can use the GoPro for that. Yes.
As we continue to listen to the conversations between the flight controllers here in Korolyov and the crew on the Soyuz, taking measurements of the progress of the leak checks that are underway. Everything is proceeding on schedule for a hatch opening about 30 minutes from now. We talked a moment or two ago about the spacewalk by Drew Feustel and Ricky Arnold that is coming up next Thursday out of the Quest airlock of the International Space Station. The day before that spacewalk, one of the vehicles currently residing at the station, the ISS Progress 68 cargo craft, will undock from the complex at 8:50 a.m. Central Time, 9:50 a.m. Eastern Time. That'll be on Wednesday, March 28th. It will move to a safe distance away from the station for about a month of scientific testing and engineering tests to be conducted by the Russian flight control team here in Korolyov before it is commanded to a destructive reentry over the Pacific Ocean in late April.
So, did you enjoy it in the vehicle? It's like some memorial item. Well, memorial probably is not the correct word, because the person is still alive. But yes, it's kind of like some kind of souvenir. Okay.
Хочешь кушать?
You are hungry? You are thirsty?
Сок хочешь?
Maybe some juice? No?
Safe?
In addition to the departure of the Progress 68 cargo craft on Wednesday and the spacewalk on Thursday by Feustel and Arnold, that will all set the stage for the targeted launch of a SpaceX Dragon cargo craft from Florida on April 2nd for a 2-day rendezvous to the International Space Station and a grapple and berthing to the Earth-facing port of the Harmony module on April 4th. The Dragon will be carrying up some 3 tons of scientific experiments and supplies for the crew on board the station. So the chain of vehicles coming and going from the station will constitute a very busy period for the new residents, Artemiev, Feustel, and Arnold. They will hit the ground running here. And again, as we mentioned, on Sunday, normally an off-duty day for the crew, they will be busy with spacewalk preparations, procedure reviews with ground controllers in Houston, and the configuration of a number of tools that they will take outside with them when they emerge from the Quest airlock clad in U.S. extravehicular mobility units on Thursday for a 6.5-hour spacewalk.
Принимаем замер, Олег.
Олег, another reading, please.
Да, говорю.
Yes, Moscow. Stand by.
740.
740.
740 ровно.
740. Even copy.
Олег, после завершения контроля
Oleg,
герметичности
after we do the leak checks,
процесс ускоренного
we will
давления
start the equalization pressure at step 1493 at page 94. It will be accelerated equalization of pressure.
And you heard one of the flight controllers here in Korolyov telling Oleg Artemiev that once the leak checks are complete to the crew's satisfaction on the Soyuz side of the docking interface, they'll be given the green light to equalize pressure in the small vestibule or passageway that constitutes the link between the Soyuz and the Poisk module. Once that pressure is equalized, then the crews on both sides of the docking interface will get busy with the opening of the hatches that will lead to the entrance of the new arrivals at the station, Artemiev, Feustel, and Arnold, who will be greeted by Shkaplerov, Tingle, and Kanai. Back to a 6-person crew, they'll move into the Zvezda service module, don headsets, and accept congratulatory calls from those folks gathered here at the Russian Mission Control Center, including family and friends. This is Mission Control Korolyov to bring you up to date. It has been almost 2 hours since the Soyuz MS-08 segment of the station occurred at 2:40 p.m. Central Time, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. It was a completely automated rendezvous approach and docking, a textbook arrival for the new residents of the International Space Station, Oleg Artemyev, the Soyuz commander, in the center seat of the descent module of the Soyuz, flanked on his left by Drew Feustel, on his right by Ricky Arnold. They have been conducting leak checks on their side of the docking interface, as has Anton Shkaplerov, the Expedition 55 commander, as part of the existing resident crew on the station. It's been a three-person crew for the past for the past 3 weeks, since the departure of three other colleagues back on February 28th. Shkaplerov, Scott Tingle of NASA and Norishige Kanai of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency are standing by, awaiting the final completion of the leak checks and the equalization of pressure in the small passageway or vestibule connecting the Soyuz at the Poisk module to the hatchway to Poisk on the station side of the docking interface. We're in a period of ratty communications right now with the loss of downlink television. We'll be reacquiring a solid link with the International Space Station a short time from now. We're about 20 minutes away from the timelined start of the actual opening of the hatches and an opportunity for Artemyev, Feustel, and Arnold to float inside the International Space Station to be greeted by Shkaplerov, Tingle, and Kanai. The 6 crew members then will move inside the Zvezda service module, don headsets, and receive congratulatory calls from those gathered here on the balcony at the Russian Mission Control Center, including their family and friends.
So at 23:30 we had 740, so less than 5 millimeters. The delta. Okay, so close KKT valve. It's a go. Yes, I closed tunnel control valve. The next page of the procedures. Oleg, page 94 is the next one in the procedure. Step 1493. 1493, copy. Station crew, what about the pressure on your side? It is a working pressure. What? 751 millimeters. That's great. That's very good. So I'm closing the RPV-1 valve, the O2 regulator, and the next one is S5 command. S5, Sierra 5. Yes.
S5. Готовы? Да.
Are you ready? Yes, I'm sending S5. Well done. And we are dismounting the screen here, so it is done. Nice.
The crew being instructed by flight controllers here in Korolyov on the final set of procedures for the equalization of pressure in the vestibular passageway between both sides of the docking interface, the Soyuz side and the station side. Once the hatches are open and the welcoming ceremony is completed, Anton Shkaplerov, the station commander, will conduct what is the traditional ISS orientation and safety briefing for the newly arrived crew members, even though they are veterans of spaceflight. That safety briefing will take the better part of an hour. The crews will have an opportunity for some handover time before they begin a very lengthy sleep period later today. The Soyuz spacecraft itself will be placed on ISS internal power rather than battery power from the Soyuz, which the vehicle has been on since its launch 2 days ago from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. The Saturday schedule is very light for the crew. It's an off-duty day, basically, an opportunity for them to relax and get acquainted with one another. Sunday will be a work day, as we mentioned earlier, punctuated by the start of spacewalk preparations by Feustel and Arnold as they configure tools and get down to the business of reviewing timeline procedures that will lead to their spacewalk schedule for next Thursday outside of the Quest airlock.
Okay, this is mine. Anton, let me see. Okay, we have to prepare the procedures, the nominal procedure book.
Нет, это костюм внутри, это надо одевать, когда...
We will have to don this spacesuit.
Ну, как ты хочешь. Давай, можем одеть. А что такое?
Okay, so we can put this on.
Once again, a view of the International Space Station's commander of Expedition 55, Anton Shkaplerov. He and Scott Tingle and Norishige Kanai of the Japan Aerospace Exploration Agency arrived on the station back in December. They'll remain on board until early June.
Right, the opening.
Shkaplerov in the process of working with several tools right there at the hatchway in the Poisk module. He will be the first to open the hatch on his side of the docking interface. Once the equalization of pressure between the two hatches in the vestibule is complete.
Oleg, don't worry, because we are still equalizing pressure and you still have time. So, don't be in a hurry. Yes, but we will have to find the tool also, or Anton will open the hatch. No, you will also have to open the hatch. It should be above the hatch, actually. The tool should be there. In the container. Yes, copy that. All right, so first of all, let's find the tool, the hatch tool, and after that we will put the clothes on.
Вики, давай change place. Ты сюда, а я туда.
Vicky, let's change places.
Я буду искать ключ.
And I will try to look for the hatch tool.
As Anton Shkaplerov prepares to open the hatch on the Poisk module side of the docking interface, he's joined there by NASA flight engineer Scott Tingle, providing a little extra elbow grease to conduct that. These hatches can be a bit stubborn. Following the equalization of pressure, they need to be burped just a bit to get that extra bit of air out of the passageway. They're working in tandem here to open the hatch, and there it goes. So the Poisk module hatch has been cracked open at 4:32 p.m. Central Time, 5:32 p.m. Eastern Time.
Station hatch is open. You can start equalizing pressure. Copy. Okay, so you will have to perform the actions in the box there, in the procedures.
The final steps in the equalization of pressure across the Soyuz hatch that you see right behind Shkaplerov, now underway. So we're edging ever so close to seeing the newly arrived crew members of the International Space Station. Again, the Poisk module hatch opening was just about a minute ago at 4:32 p.m. Central Time, but we'll stand by and you'll be able to see, hopefully, as long as our downlink television capability continues, the opening of the Soyuz hatch.
Oleg, no, it's not 2-minute timer, of course. We will stand by, until the 2-minute period when the pressure on the pressure gauge. So the pressure should go down and up to the station level, and then for 2 minutes it should be stable. Copy that. Well, it might take 15-20 minutes, somewhere in this ballpark. Okay. And I, found the items of the docking assembly. Somebody is knocking. Anton probably is knocking. At least we can see, on our camera screens that he is knocking. All right.
Anton Shkaplerov having a bit of fun as he knocks on the door of the Soyuz spacecraft.
For the docking assembly and the there are all kind of wrenches there and tools. Everything is there. So I guess it's time for us to put on our festive clothes. Okay, so the hedge tool is inserted here. I will let it remain like this. Hawaii, this is Moscow. Go ahead, Moscow. Oleg, we will have LOS, and the reading is 743. So we will have the LOS, and it will be long one. The LOS should start at 0045. Okay. 0045. So do not open the hatch before this period of time. Copy. Right now, inaudible. Oleg, if you can copy me, please proceed with the equalization and stand by for...
This is Mission Control Houston, or Mission Control Korolyov, I should say. The downlink television from the International Space Station. We've gone into an LOS period as we hand over communications between satellites on the tracking and data relay satellite system. We should regain that downlink TV signal just a few minutes from now, as we're about 8 minutes away from the actual opening of the Soyuz hatch that will enable Oleg Artemyev, Ricky Arnold, and Drew Feustel to enter the complex to be greeted by Expedition 55 Commander Anton Shkaplerov, NASA's Scott Tingle, and Japanese astronaut Norishige Kanai. You're looking at a view from a balcony camera overlooking the Russian Mission Control Center here in Korolyov. Family and friends and several dignitaries have gathered on the balcony to place congratulatory calls to the crew once they float through that hatchway and make their way into the Zvezda service module, where they will put on headsets for the traditional welcoming ceremony. While we near the point of the Soyuz hatch opening that should be upcoming just moments from now, the International Space Station is currently traveling from northwest to southeast, flying over Southeast Asia, in fact having just passed over the capital of Vietnam, Ho Chi Minh City, in an orbit inclined 51.6 degrees to either side of the equator. All station and Soyuz systems have operated flawlessly through the course of this automated rendezvous and docking that occurred about 3 hours ago, with link-up of the Soyuz MSO-8 to the Poisk module occurring at 2:40 p.m. Central Time, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. Oleg Artemyev, Drew Feustel, and Ricky Arnold soon to board the International Space Station. And now a view looking at the area at which dignitaries, family, and friends will be gathering moments from now, where congratulatory calls will be placed to the new crew members. Once they open the hatch to the Soyuz vehicle and float inside, they'll move to the Zvezda service module for the traditional welcoming ceremony. Everything has gone by the book ever since launch 2 days ago from the Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. The docking was without any issue whatsoever as the Soyuz glided in for an automated link-up to the Poisk module at 2:40 p.m. Central Time, 3:40 p.m. Eastern Time. The leak checks have revealed no issues. We have an airtight seal between the Soyuz and the space station, and pressure is being equalized on the Soyuz side of the docking interface. This should take just another few minutes before permission will be given to open the Soyuz hatch and get the welcoming ceremony underway.
How do you copy us? Say again? So, do you copy us on Space to Ground 1? Yes? On Space to Ground 1? Sounds good. So, this station hatch will be open. Oleg, so we will...
With our downlink television capability now restored, we should see Shkaplerov, Tingle, and Kenai gathering in that area there on the Poisk module side of the docking interface. And
open cover there.
There we go.
There, and start.
And we're seconds away from the opening of the hatch and the arrival on board the station of Oleg Artemyev, Drew Feustel, and Ricky Arnold.
For a second, please. Okay. I'm standing by. Oleg, how do you copy me now? Will transition and to this station, and I would like to tell you to say a few words about your actions in the vehicle. Go ahead. After the hatch is opened and after the conferences, you will have to do the deactivation of the vehicle systems, and the page in the procedure 25-inaudible 8. 25. Standby 1. Okay, orbital flight is the name of the procedure. Page 25. Yes, through page 1, through page 38. Okay, 38. 25 through 38. Copy.
Олег, но при этом пункт 4.7 консервация газа анализатора не выполняется.
So do not, repeat, do not perform step 4.5. It's the activation of the gas analyzer. What page is that? Standby 1, Oleg. Okay, I found it, page 37. So
Anton Shkaplerov
yes,
exercising what patience he has, as he's very anxious to see his new crewmates arriving on board. That hatch should be opening any old moment now. Everything has gone by the book, just the final steps in the procedures to equalize pressure across that hatch interface to the Soyuz MS-08.
In BO, in orbital mode, you will have to change number 3 with number 1. All right, copy. And also, BNP and 3 masks will have to be brought into the vehicle from MRM. Okay, so 3 IPK masks will have to be brought to the vehicle from the MRM2 and also BMP. Oleg, you will have to do it today. And of course, you'll have to work with the spacesuits. Copy. I understand. Oleg, that's it. I'm saying goodbye. It was very nice to work with you, and I wish you successful work on this station. And my warmest regards to the whole crew, from Soyuz control room. Our warmest greetings to you and to the whole crew. Thank you so much.
Soyuz Commander Oleg Artemyev now moments away from opening the hatch on the Soyuz side of the docking interface, thanking the Soyuz Shift Flight Director here in Korolyov for all the assistance that was provided during the 2 days of free flight of the Soyuz MS-08 spacecraft following its launch on Wednesday from the Baikonur Cosmodrome.
It is fine. It's okay. Oleg, once you open the hatch, voice it somehow so that Anton knows. All right, so the rollers now are off.
Давай.
Okay? Do it.
Давай, давай.
Do it.
Оп, отлично. Пошел.
That's great. Now it is moving.
О, давай. Так, тихо, тихо, тихо. Так,
Okay?
так, тихо, тихо. У нас тут...
Not so fast.
And the Soyuz hatch now open at 4:48 p.m. Central Time, 5:48 p.m. Eastern Time on this Friday afternoon. The Soyuz hatch is open, and we'll be seeing the 3 new residents of the International Space Station just a moment or two from now.
Да. Ёлки-палки, у нас тут... Сейчас, подожди, Антош.
Anton, stand by one, please.
Подожди, у нас тут...
Stand by.
Тут же ЛДИ же надо демонтировать сначала.
So you will have to do...
The Soyuz hatch opening occurring as the International Space Station flew 254 miles over the northern coast of Australia.
Хоп, хоп, хоп. Так. Давай.
Okay, let's do it.
Хоп. Ну-ка, давай-ка мы...
Let me help here.
Давай, вниз туда.
A little bit down.
Положи, пожалуйста, скафандр туда.
And place it into the spacesuit. This tool and this one as well.
Этот тоже туда. Оп. Так, теперь попробуем.
Now let us try another attempt.
And here we go. Hatch fully open now, and in will float the new residents.
Так, давай.
Go ahead.
Ricky Arnold, first aboard the International Space Station.
Чем это у вас тут пахнет-то?
So what does this smell
Да, что вот тут? Шашлыки жарят.
on the station? It's kebab.
Followed by his NASA astronaut colleague, Drew Feustel. Soyuz Commander Oleg Artemiev to follow. Once again, the International Space Station has now doubled its population, with the hatch opening occurring at 4:48 p.m. Central Time, 5:48 p.m. Eastern Time. All 6 crew members together now as they move into the Zvezda service module, where they'll don headsets and receive congratulatory calls from dignitaries, family, and friends gathered there on the balcony of the Flight Control Room, the International Space Station Flight Control Room here at the Russian Mission Control Center.
Moscow Station on Space to Ground 1. Go ahead, Anton.
Принимаете картинку?
Do you receive the image?
Нет, из СМ пока не принимаем.
No, we are not receiving image from SM yet.
Но я вижу уже на мониторах.
But I can see it on the monitor. Yes, now we are receiving the image.
Сейчас связь берем.
Okay, so we will start the conference.
And you're seeing the 6 crew members, Expedition 55, now a 6-person crew. Oleg Artemyev, the Soyuz commander, who monitored the automated approach of the Soyuz for its docking to the Poisk module a few hours ago. Front and center, flanked on his left by Drew Feustel, on his right by Ricky Arnold. In the back row, on the top right of your screen, NASA's Scott Tingle.
Moscow station, how do you copy us?
Принимаем хорошо.
We copy you loud and clear.
И видим вас хорошо.
And we see you as well.
Весь экипаж в сборе.
Okay, so our greetings with the assembling of the 6 crew members on board the station with the arrival of the new crew.
Всех видно.
Yes, we can see all of you. You know, these guests are still, making themselves comfortable on the balcony, and as soon as they are ready, we will start the conference. Sounds good. Guys, good evening. This is Gidzenko here. How do you copy us? We copy you loud and clear. Good evening. So it is deep night here in Moscow, and it is still evening on board this station. We see you very clearly, Oleg crew and Anton crew. We see you that you're in good mood, and that's great. And you're in good health as well. Well, here on the balcony, apart from me, you can see Mr. Gustenmeyer and your friends and family. Oleg, Anya, Anton, Tatiana, and others. Just would like to extend our greetings, to the crew, and also congratulations to Anton with a successful ascent. You did very well. Your flight was exemplary, and so we wish you all the very best. And I'm giving the mic to Mr. Gustenmeyer.
Gerst, you guys look great on orbit. It's really nice seeing all 6 of you there. It is so much better than just the 3. The 3 did a great job of taking care of station, and now that you're up to the full size of 6, we can hardly wait for you to get busy and start doing lots of great work for us. Now I'll turn it over to the families. You can get a chance to talk to them.
Hello, Oleg. Hi. The whole crew, our congratulations on the arrival to the new house of yours, Drew and Ricky. You are great. Thank you so much, Anton. We saw how you were opening the hatch, and we saw also how you were getting ready. I hope it will be much better, for all of you when you are 6 on the station, and we wish you good luck. Daddy, I will miss you. I'm missing you already. But, remember that you are the eldest now. You are the head of the family.
Hi, everyone. everybody. This is Indy. Can I say a quick hi to Drew? Okay, everyone. You guys make a very, very handsome crew up there. And congratulations on one of the most beautiful launches, beautiful rendezvous, and fantastic docking. Congratulations. I know how hard you guys have all worked. And on behalf of myself, your sons Ari and Aiden, your mom and dad, and our family and friends, and your supporters all around the world, I hope you feel the love. And Drew, please tell us something about the 2 days that you guys have been up there.
Thanks for the great words. We're all happy to be here, and I can tell you it was a long ride. We counted 50 hours from the time that we took off until we arrived at the space station, and we had a nice time, just the three of us. It was relaxing, and just enjoyed circling around the Earth and seeing all the beautiful sights, and we're all looking forward to getting to work. But thanks to everybody who came, and thanks to everybody for waiting up for us for the docking, and we'll look forward to speaking with you all soon. Love everybody.
Love you, babe. Love you.
Carrie here with me, and we're so happy to see you guys. We've been waiting to see you for 2 days, and all just enjoyed watching the launch. It was beautiful, and we're looking forward to all the great things you guys are going to do this week. And we missed you, and we love you.
Thanks so much. Yeah, we had a better view of the launch than we did. We only had it in our rearview mirror. We've had 2 great days of kind of tumbling through space. It was a lot like being at sea. At least that's what it reminded me of. Love you guys, and look forward to talking to you soon. And thanks to everyone there who made the journey to support us. It was just great seeing all those faces. The last thing we saw when we got on the bus to head out to the rocket with all of our good friends and family who were there for us. So thank you all.